Let's start with our phone subscriptions. Have you been experiencing faster mobile credit depletion soon after recharging? Perhaps it's about time you started checking the number of mobile service subscriptions on your phone. Love News investigations have found out that as high as 95 services are unknowingly being subscribed to by mobile phone users.
100 affected users were therefore selected for this exercise. The survey found 95 unknowingly subscribed services. Out of these services, Games 24 Pro, Jobs.go Plus, M-Scorer, RD Sexy Pink, a music app constituted the frequently occurring services from 6 and above. RD Sexy Pink and Jobs.go Plus were found among 12 users. Games 24 Pro and music app on 12 and 13 users respectively. M-Scorer took the first place, being found with 20 users. Our survey found the subscription charges range from 19 pesos to 85 pesos. One of the subscriptions which appeared in 35% of the affected users was M-Scorer. This service carries a hefty price tag of 75 Ghana pesos. Just when we thought we're done, we chanced on another service known as Premium Trivia. Premium Trivia topped with 85 pesos. According to the CEO of the Chamber of Telecommunications, Dr. Kenneth Ashibe, many of these unsolicited subscriptions are being perpetuated by the National Communications Authority licensed third parties.
Third parties who have been given licenses by the NTA, and some of them, true, they don't go by the processes. So I know what the networks are trying to do is to make sure that for every subscription that you do, you are giving the option to sign in, So all of those are kind of policies that we're trying to get enforced.
Dr. Kester Quest Afechi of the Ghana Telecom University, who has no idea of how he subscribed to one of his 4 subscriptions, believes mobile users subscribe to these services unknowingly. He said these requests to subscribe appear at the end of calls and sometimes text messages.
Okay, so normally when people make calls, then they realize that there is a pop-up that comes. So they click on these pop-ups without knowing that these pop-ups will lead them to subscribe to things that they have not intended to subscribe to. And some of these things ended up deducting money from their account. So they also receive text messages sometimes, and then these things pop up as well, and then they click on it. So most of the subscribers of the telecommunication network don't actually subscribe to them as regularly as other subscription services are. So for example, if you want people to subscribe to a particular service, you have to first advertise the service, and then they will have to use a short code to get access to that service. So they enter the short code and follow the prompts, and then they can now subscribe to the service that you want them to subscribe to. But what is going on these days is that, as I said, immediately you finish the call, the pop-ups comes, and sometimes there is no message attached to the pop-ups. It's just a message that comes with an OK. You click on the OK, leads you to another one. Some don't even lead you to anyone. Before you realize, you subscribe to some of these services. So that is what subscribers are going through these days. Yeah, for the telco services, what they have to do is to monitor their network and then be sure that the people that they give access to for certain services don't abuse it by using these things to extort money from their subscribers. Because if monies are getting deducted from the subscribers' accounts and they realize that if they use this telecommunication network, their credits run down, they will end up using other services, because the subscribers are going through a lot when it also comes to this mobile money services, the scammers, and all those kind of issues when it comes to the WhatsApp they use and other services they use with their mobile phone. So when this one adds up to it, it creates a burden, and they feel that the network is not secure again. So they will better go to network providers that provide the more secure communication and also ensure that their subscribers are well protected. So one of the things also that the telecommunication services can do is to send messages regularly at the end of the month to alert subscribers in terms of some of the subscriptions that they have, so that when they go through the list and they realize they've not subscribed to a particular service, they can remove that. And they have to make the process of the removal also very easy and simple for the subscribers, so that they will not go through the headache trying to find out how can I get off this or whatever.
In the meantime, Dr. Kwestafechi also advises mobile phone users against clicking on pop-up messages. He says mobile phone users can simply click on the power button. Reporter for JoyNews, Kwesi Deborah.
Well, the question is, why do mobile telecom service providers give access to third parties to offer you these services without your consent? Is use of data protection here? How about the NCA and its responsibility and gatekeeping role to ensure the telcos do not exploit customers? Joining us live for a conversation is a data protection expert and former chief executive of the Ghana Data Protection Commission, Mrs. Teki Akwete Falconer, for more. Thank you, Mrs. Falconer, for joining the conversation. Now, does the subscriber have the right to complain about how the service provider is giving third parties access to his or her data?
Good morning, and thank you for bringing me online. Definitely, the subscriber has a right to know who is getting access to their information. And even when it comes to data or monies that they are spending, they have the right to know how the monies that they're buying, how the monies that they're putting on their phone is being utilized. So on both aspects, the subscriber has a right to on the telecommunications operator to communicate in a very clear manner to the subscriber how their information is being used and how their airtime is equally being used as well.
So now that you've set the tone for the conversation from there, why then is it that the telcos have not acted up to this point in time? Because it appears these are things. So I'll cite a personal example. There was a time when I unsubscribed from a lot of these, and after a while, I had a number of them brought back. So what are the legal issues in there? Why is it possible for the telcos to keep allowing these groupings or whatever to keep subscribing customers clandestinely? What clandestinely, I should say. What could be done to remedy the situation?
I believe that these are some of the reasons why we have laws there, and our laws must be enforced to ensure that everybody stays within the remits of the law. If you look at billing, even from the telecommunications perspective, I do not think that as subscribers we have very clear views on how we are billed and how monies that we put on our phone is utilized. And that is one flaw where the communications law clearly spells out that, you know, the customer and the subscriber should be giving clear information. Of course, there are requirements where we can make complaints, and I expect the NCA to also react. But it comes from a number of sides. The NCA has the oversight role to ensure that, you know, the subscribers are being protected, so to speak. And it is the NCA's role to enforce the law as required. So I think that's where the biggest challenge comes in. The other side has to do with the data protection laws and enforcement of the laws. Of course, aspects of the enforcement also rest on the individual to ask questions and to make sure that they clearly understand. But one of the clear obligations under the data protection law when you're communicating with consumers is to make sure that you're communicating in a clear manner that they can understand. So if you're sending me a message that hitherto I will quickly, put off, but in the process, I'm subscribing to a service. These are things that in other jurisdictions, regulators will come in, and I think that is where we are failing. We have the laws there, but we are not adequately ensuring that, the consumers are properly protected.
Right. So when you say this is where we are failing, is that to stretch the conversation, or by extension, a failure on the part of the NCA?
I think it's a failure on the part of the regulators to put in the mechanisms that make sure that the operators are doing what they are required to do, when it comes to that. But also, we as consumers or subscribers have some obligation to complain or to make complaints to the requisite regulators again. And I think that is also something that we should be doing a lot more of, to make sure that we keep the operators on their toes.
Beyond these that you've mentioned, some people may suggest taking up the matter legally. What do you see to be the bottlenecks that could accompany such a process? These are huge multinational corporations, the telecoms agencies. What do you think would emerge from a situation like that?
We can't shy away from pushing for the enforcement of the laws, and that is how laws work. Yes, they are huge multinationals and they may have a lot more resources, but I think that it's about time that we start taking some of these issues up,
Right.
as consumers, to make sure that the right thing is done. Until we push for the enforcement of the laws, every person or anybody, be they huge corporations or smaller corporations, will take advantage of the loopholes that exist. It's just because we're not enforcing the laws.
Mrs. Falconer, thank you so much for your time. We also have Dr. Ken Ashigbe, CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, joining the conversation. Do tell, is the Chamber aware of the unsolicited service subscription? How much do you know about it?
Well, thank you very much. And I am pretty sure Multimedia was at the 19th Knowledge Forum that we had. I remember seeing a story that Love FM did, where they referred to that. So at this Knowledge Forum there was a session that was delivered by Ernest Osepoku, who spoke about this unsolicited electronic communications and the challenge there. And at that session, that's where we put out those numbers that the various operators had done to help customers, know subscriptions that they have, so that if there are any of them that had been added that they either did not know about or did,
Right.
without, really looking at, they can clean it up. And then also there's been quite a lot of work that has been done by the operators themselves. And one of the things that have been, policies that have been put in, is ensuring that there is a two-tier process of signing on to these subscriptions. You find out that in the past, you used to have the situation where, you might go to a website, you provide your data, your information, there's a link there, you click it, and then you are signed on to a particular subscription. And so to make sure that the consumers give their consent, so it's been made a double-tier process where you need to confirm that this is a particular subscription that you want. Then also there are various ways that beyond customers themselves dialing the various short codes that the various operators have provided, the operators themselves also go in to clean up, some of the subscriptions. So a typical thing they would do is that if they find out that for some of the operators, if about 30% of your total monthly spend is spent on some of these subscriptions, it's definitely likely that, this might be something that you might not have consented to. So those ones could be deactivated. The the situation in which maybe a request for payment will have been sent to you 3 times and you've declined. It tells that this is a subscription you are not interested in. Those ones are taken off. So there's several, and then they look also at your patterns, if there's a drastic change in them. These are all ways in which these unsolicited subscription or communications are being dealt with. And there are constant, recently, the regulator meets up with the operators to discuss the actions that they are taking to ensure that these unsolicited communication and subscriptions are dealt with.
How has the Chamber addressed these concerns so far? From your specific end, what have you done in this respect?
So that's why I talked about the knowledge forum that we had at the Labadi Beach Hotel was one of them in terms of educating the consumers about, how the challenges with this and how to deal with it. And beyond that, we've been engaging our members in terms of all the work that they've been doing. I'm pretty sure in the coming days, we would have another forum to, share some of, what has been done and what needs to be done from our side as well as from the operator side. We are also planning a meeting with the value-added service providers, to also engage them and let them be aware of the unsolicited electronic communication policy directive from the NTA, so that, we all would ensure that we are only subscribing consumers and subscribers onto any of these services when they have given their consent. When they have not given their consent, that is not supposed to be done. So that is the next step that is going to happen in the next few days. I'm sure by the 1st of February, this engagement would happen.
Okay. Doc, very briefly on this one, my very final bid to you. Some people have said that there should be compensatory packages for most telecom subscribers or phone subscribers who have gone through these ordeals. What is your quick take on that, and what do you think the Chamber can do in that respect?
So that's what I'm saying, that there's been quite a bit of work that has been done in terms of dealing with the challenges. You see, some of the subscriptions happen either, knowingly, the person, you might not know, somebody might take your device and do it, or you might have clicked on a subscription, you've gone to another website, you gave your details, and then you clicked on a link there, and then you find yourself being, subscribed to that. And so what has happened in all of these situations is even knowing that whether you did it knowingly or unknowingly, and we realize that the patterns are not, that do not suggest that is happening. So that is them taking off. There are situations where, in particular situations where these complaints are made, they are investigated, and then the situations are dealt with. There are situations that have happened where even particular value-added service providers have been sanctioned, based on if some of these infractions have happened, and that 3 tiers of the sanction, pecuniary sanctions, and then to the point where, the value-added service provider could even be blacklisted. So all of that is currently being done.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Ken Ashigbe, for bringing us the details there. Dr. Ken Ashigbe, of course, CEO of the Chamber of Telecommunications.